Hey, hey, hey. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ron, aka Ron the Artist, coming to you live. And welcome to Ron's Recap. I'm here today to recap and review the TV show All American Homecoming on the CW, Season 1, Episode 8, titled Just a Friend. Let's get into it. Guys. It was a lot. And by the way, it's been a minute since I've recapped this show. Honestly, I don't know why, but I'm glad to be back. All right, so let's get into the episode. You know, it started with Simone and Keisha and Nathan walking on the campus. I'm assuming at some type of like fundraiser type of event, or, you know, on campus they hold these like socializing events out like in the fields and stuff. If you know, you know. But they were walking on the campus discussing, you know, what plans were until they went into an actual tent, or, you know, about this, like, I guess, a tent setup about, like, this date auction event, you know, on the campus held by a fraternity. With a gala. You know, as I signed up for it, it appeared to be something unexpected. Well, as Nathan signed up for it. It appeared to be something unexpected. Like, you actually need a date to have a bid or auction, or they're not calling it an auction, and you're to get a date with whoever you bid on, but it's not an auction. It was an auction. So, yeah, at that moment, I'm like, okay, that confused me a little bit, but Nathan was all for it, as he or she or they, as they are letting it be known that they are trying to get into this fraternity or whatever. Okay, so the next moment, as they, you know, made their way away from the tent, somehow Simone caught wind of Nathan wanted to pledge for the fraternity. You know, the fraternity, I guess, is rumored to be open to non-binary people. So Nathan was all for that. And it has to be under deep discretion, apparently. Well, you know that. If you know people that's been in the frat or that's pledged, they always go silent, if you've ever noticed that. I know a few that just they went silent off of social media for months as they pledged. And you didn't know that they were pledging until they had made it to the fraternity. Just crickets. Crickets. I don't know if they like require the people to, the applicants of the fraternity, to like just delete their social media or like minimize it, but they go crickets. And again, discretion it was. So on to Simone. You know, she got a text from Jordan as it lit up her face, making it super obvious. And she got busted for, you know, scheduling phone sex with Jordan. Just awkward. As Simone said, we're both athletes as full-time students. We're busy, so we got to pencil it in when we can pencil it in. And it's crazy. The next thing was of Coach Turner in his office getting a visit from JR. You know, JR, he quit the team. The past handful of episodes, he quit the baseball team due to personal issues that really took a toll on him. So, yeah, he's back, and he wanted to rejoin the baseball team. The coach told him, you know, there's consequences to his actions. In spite of his personal issues, you're going to have to fight for it. You know, I can't just let you back right in. As JR continued to make his case, Coach told him that it's not up to him. Even if he said he wanted him back, or he can come back, he has to get the approval of the actual team. You know, and that's accurate. That's fair. Like, you let more people down than just the coach by just up and leaving the team, and you were the captain. You let the entire team down and left a wide open spot. The captain spot and the pitcher spot, which are two dominant roles in a freaking team. A baseball team, especially the pitcher. Like, the pitcher, catcher, whatever. Like, so you let them down. You got to go face them. And JR got excited about that offer because that gave him a chance, you know. It gave him a chance as, you know, he was excited again, leaving relieved. And possibly getting a chance to get back on the team. But at that moment, I was just thinking, like, I know and feel that it is not going to be easy for him to make his way back onto that team. That team is not going to be happy at that. I'm like, I know you turned your back on them. You know, we all understand when you go through personal issues and you have to take a step back, like, from life for a second. But when you are in a role, a leadership role, when you're in a leadership role and somebody of power and somebody where other people are depending on you and looking up to you, and you step out of that role and just kind of go MIA on people, then it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. So I just knew and felt at that moment that that was not going to be easy for JR. So the next scene was of Damon packing his things, getting ready to go to Chicago to see his father, as his father has Alzheimer's. Hey, Andrea. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining me. But, you know, Damon's father had Alzheimer's. Apparently, this is a good week for his father. He's in a good headspace. And he wanted to shoot a shot at trying to figure out what is he going to do as far as getting information about his biological parents. And he needs to see him. And out of nowhere, Simone just kind of offers to attend with him. And I'm just like, that was extremely interesting. This man is about to leave Atlanta on a flight to Chicago with only like 15 minutes to spare. And Simone just all of a sudden wants to hop on board with him. Coming from somebody who has a boyfriend that she's so deeply in love with that's in LA, I wonder how would Jordan feel about attending this Chicago travel with Damon. Like, she needs to be honest and real with him about that. Like, I'm getting irritated with Simone at this point because she is like not just being honest with herself about the situation with Damon. Like, why would you go all the way to Chicago from Atlanta where you got to pay out of pocket to go support somebody? I get it. It's respected. But like, for somebody that's not your boyfriend, when you have a boyfriend, like, it's going beyond friendship. It's appearing beyond friendship. So the next scene, Dr. Patterson going through hell with this edited viral video of her allegedly speaking out in badmouth in the university, Princeton University. Stuff is looking rough for her as the university board has formed a meeting around her employment at the university without her knowledge and uninvitedly. As the dean of the school informs her, like, it's not looking good. You got a meeting, and I'm getting texts and calls and emails everywhere from every angle about this. And she then invited herself to it. She's like, there's no way that I can let this meeting form without me being there. So she's like, I'll see you there. Dr. Patterson is going through it, like reaping. That's saying you reap what you sow. She did a good deed by exposing that baseball coach, but it wasn't quite it. As the school lost endorsements, the school lost funds, the school lost their baseball coach, the one that was in stance there, and it's just with that choice, which was a good deed she did, the freaking school lost on a lot, and a lot of people are mad about it. And so it's unfortunate for her because she did the right thing, but the school lost out on a lot, and a lot of people are not happy to see her there. And that's unfortunate for her. And honestly, I fear her well-being because they're attacking her from every angle except physically. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody would attempt to come at her that way. Hopefully not, but I wouldn't be surprised. So the next scene was of Keisha and Nathan sitting. I don't know, Nathan or Nathaniel. I guess I'm just going to refer to him as Nate because I have heard Nathaniel and Nate. Maybe they're calling them all three of them. But the next scene was of Keisha and Nate sitting in the lobby of their dorm as Keisha got approached by this chick named Gabrielle looking for Cam. At that moment, unexpectedly, he was in the background giving the signal to cover for him, so they brushed her off and sent her to the cafe looking for him. Apparently, she wants him to join a singing group called the ATLs that he quite isn't interested in the opportunity due to feeling like he's an athlete and not a singer. I'm like, dude, that's such a cop-out. That man actually has a voice, and considering his recent injury, he should explore that option as a singer. Like, yeah, you're there on a football scholarship, but you can't play, and you're not playing like that at this moment. So why not explore other options as he's waiting for whatever moment to happen with football? And another thing, by the way, he's been riding Keisha's coattail about not pursuing her passion. He shouldn't be so quick to judge her for, dodging that dance opportunity, that competition, as he's now doing the same thing, dodging a singing opportunity due to fear of where it might go and actually, what's the happen of it. And that moment I was like, Cam, you just reneged on everything that you just went against Keisha for, because you were blaming her and dragging and dogging her about, her not living up to the best of her potential to please her dad. Dancing is her thing. She's very good at it. But yet she wants to please her dad by being a doctor and following that suit in the family. Okay, now you're kind of going along the same thing. Like, not verbatim, but you have a gift, a God-given talent. And it's dope. And you're not exploring it due to a dream of being a football player when the odds are looking very slim for you at the moment. I'm just saying. Next up, Damon and Simone, they made it to Chicago. They made it to Chicago to his mother's home. And Simone is in full support, hand-holding and all. Literally. Hand-holding like a couple, like. Damon worked up the courage to go see his father. Meanwhile, his mother got to asking Simone questions about her and Damon as Damon was out of the room. All Simone told her was they're just friends. And his mom didn't look convinced at that answer at all. And I'm just like, yeah, you and everybody else. Silly rabbit. Poor Simone. Poor Simone. Well, I'm not going to say poor Simone because she is doing this to herself at this point. Like, set boundaries. If you are really, really all for Jordan and you love Jordan so much, you should respect him at all costs. And she hasn't been doing very much of that. Respecting him in their relationship, as she's been pretty much replacing him with Damon's presence. Not boyfriend and girlfriend close like that, but his presence and them being there for each other has pretty much been equivalent to like a friend guy's presence. I'm just saying. On to Damon approaching his father to ask about his birth parents. It didn't go so well. It didn't go so well. He called Damon George, his uncle, mistakenly, his deceased uncle. The conversation didn't go, as well as he kept pushing, for more information and kept pushing him to try to remember. And this all triggered Damon, emotionally, as watching his dad, like, go off the deep end. And it triggered his father as well. And he was like, you're George. Stop calling me dad. Stop calling me dad. And he wasn't recognizing Damon, and Damon was hurt by that, clearly. And Damon was hurt by that, and the father was hurt by that because he's like, you're George. I know you're George. And apparently he had been calling him George since he was 14, and that's so unfortunate. Alzheimer's is sad to witness and watch. Not to get too personal with you guys, but my grandmother experienced Alzheimer's before she passed. And I'm grateful that it happened closer toward her passing because she got to remember and still be present with the family for a lot of stuff. But when it happened, and it wasn't great to see. And she started calling other people other names and not quite remembering what was going on. It's unfortunate to watch. But again, that moment ended up pushing Damon and his father back. And ultimately, Damon should have just let his father talk. I thought that at that moment, like, let him talk. Let him talk, you know. It might not be making sense to you, and you might thinking he might be traveling off on a deep end, but he might be saying something that's significant to what you're asking. But Damon just kind of got frustrated, and it pushed them both to the edge. Later, in the next scene, Simone apologizing and comforting Damon about his father not remembering his existence. Damon then wanted to get going, get back on that flight back to Atlanta, so they can get, you know, back on track of things, as he's disappointed that he didn't get what he wanted. But Simone insisted that they should spend the night in Chicago, which will blow off her call with Jordan that night, their scheduled call. Simone. I'm just like, at this point, stop delaying the inevitable with Jordan. The inevitable. Stop delaying the inevitable with Jordan. Because clearly she's all for Damon. She's all for Damon. Ultimately, she ended up texting Jordan to cancel the scheduled call, as Damon went to inform his mom about the change of plans of them to stay. I'm just like, Okay. So back to the campus in Atlanta. Nathan in the pledge meeting, or at least the volunteer meeting. And they're assigned to help / set up, decorate in the event. And he gets assigned with Thea, who was also, you know, I guess maybe wanting to pledge or just make friends unexpectedly. And apparently they both were using that excuse to connect, to pledge with those others and just be amongst the other girls. And ultimately it caused a bonding moment between the two of them. And they both seem to be on the radar of the current members already. The leaders that are holding this event, they seem to be on the radars of the current members already. So bonding begins. Sidebar, I'm really happy to see Thea. She is opening up and just becoming more warm and welcome. Like, we're really getting to see her character flourish a bit more. She came on hard and strong and competitive and as a bully. And now it's bigger than that. It's deeper than that. As the situation happens with most bullies, there's a reason behind everything. Somebody could be just hurt and just don't have anybody else with them, and they just respond to reality in a different way in response to that. Responding abruptly to reality in response to that. So the next moment, one of the head members came to them and approached them, letting it be known that, well, that she didn't necessarily approach them. She said to the other head member that one of the bachelors from their event dropped out. And Nathaniel, Nate, offered, suggesting a perfect guy. And I was like, who could he be thinking about? Or who does he have in mind? But back to Chicago. As they're preparing to spend the night at Damon's house, his mother was preparing the couch for him to sleep on while Simone was to sleep in Damon's room. Honestly, if that was the case, she probably still could have had a phone call with Jordan. I don't know. That would have been weird happening in his mama's house, but if she was for Jordan, she shouldn't have canceled that. Well, but then she also would have to explain to Jordan where she was at. Ooh-wee, messy. But back to that, his mom also insisted that no funky business is allowed in her home, as she hears creeping on the floor and all that good stuff. Shortly afterwards, Damon and his mother began to have a heart-to-heart moment about his father's current state in his parent search. This was a bit of a mental breakdown for his mom and him, as they both struggle to cope with their loved one having Alzheimer's. And the fact that Damon's parent search isn't going so well, and his mom was a little disappointed that Damon, ticked off his dad, setting him off, and she warned him not to do that. So they had a bonding little moment, a heart-to-heart moment due to that, and they welcomed each other in the midst of that. So back to the actual campus. JR made his attempt to approach the baseball team members about rejoining. And just as I suspected, they weren't for it. Since he couldn't tell them why he quit the team, they were like, dude, like, what are you talking about? We're not for this. Like, you quit. Bye. You 3 weeks late. And again, he could even tell them why he quit. Again, not opening up. Another character not quite opening up to people that are just ultimately wanting to be there for them. Ultimately ended that conversation somewhat quickly. He wasn't really trying to let them know what it was, and they weren't really trying to hear him, what he was talking about. So he stayed where he was at. He was not getting back on the team. And that new pitcher was like, yeah. Nope. Especially now that he's in that position now, that pitcher catcher. Now that he's in JR's position, in that role, he's not trying to let that up. I know. JR got work to do. JR just disappointing everybody. Just gave up on life and himself. Like, dude, you're still a college student. Things happen. Life happens to everybody. It's just a matter of how you deal with it. How you overcome it. And I guess at the age of 18, 19 years old, 17 to 19 years old as a college student, you don't quite know how to do that. Or you're still learning how to do that. So, yeah. The next scene. Back to Damon and Simone. They made their way back to Atlanta the next day, where Nathan was waiting on them to return for him to ask Damon to be a part of the BKAs, or, that fraternity gala event, as that bachelorette. So that was who he was trying to replace him with. Damon agreed, but Simone wanted to check to see if he was actually mentally capable to do that, as he was. Probably had a little bit more motive than that. She just probably didn't want anybody else to have their hands on him. But ultimately, after Damon ended up leaving, Nathan wanted to know details of what happened with her time with Damon. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Nathan. If I didn't say that. Nathan wanted to know what happened with her time with Damon. But of course, Simone brushed it off, telling him, we're just friends. And Nathan then told her to check on her aunt, as Chaos has been raking. The next scene was Simone talking to Dr. Patterson, her aunt, about the hearing, which worked in her favor somewhat, as Dr. Patterson had real footage from the event that was not edited words of hers, But she still is being held accountable for holding an unauthorized event about Brixton or around Brixton. Moments later, Simone's phone rang, and it was Jordan, and she hung up on him very fast, avoiding him like, oh, I'm talking to my aunt. I'll give you a call back. And Dr. Patterson caught on fast and questioned her about it. She wasn't for it. Like, why? Because Simone could have easily walked out of the room and talked to him. She owes Jordan an explanation about everything that's been going on. Again, I'm tired of Simone. Like, I like her, but the actions with Damon is not okay. Like, if you want to pursue Damon, but you have to let go of Jordan. Jordan is a good guy. He was there for you through it all, through your child and giving up your child, and he even wanted to be a father figure for your child. Jordan was it for you. Like, Jordan was it for you, but if that's not where you want to be, go join Damon. But you got to let it go. You cannot straddle the fence. And that's where stuff gets difficult. That's where stuff gets tricky. And again, she needs to make a choice, like ASAP, in my opinion. rant over. The next scene was of Simone telling Keisha about the convo with Dr. Patterson about Jordan. Keisha clearly doesn't seem to be convinced that Simone and Jordan's relationship. She's not convinced of it, and that it's genuine, or that Simone is all for Jordan, as she say, considering all she knows about Simone's interaction with Damon. Meanwhile, Jordan suddenly ends up answering Simone's calls, or at least his phone just kept going to voicemail. Probably blocked her. It would have been well deserved if he did. Keisha suggested that she just plan a trip to Jordan and take lingerie and a trench coat with her. And she agreed to that. But she also needed to get a job to expense that plane ticket and those items. And I'm just like, we'll see how that goes. The next scene was of Nathan and Thea preparing to set up for the gala, when one of the lead members came to ask Thea to take a picture of her and Nathan, as she did, and taking Nathan to see the VP of the fraternity, leaving Thea alone, left out again. Like, Thea's trying to get to a point where she's not being left out and feeling left out. And the fact that that woman made her a point, that girl made her point to come over there and ask Thea to take a picture of her and Nate. Then remove Nate from that situation was unfortunate. Unfortunate. Meanwhile, Keisha is getting the bachelors in shape for this event with a dance number, a performance number, that Damon seems to be not so understanding of. 2 left feet, whatever the case may be. Throwing her dance number all the way off until she called a hard 10-minute break. As Simone made her way in with good news that she got a job, a catering job. She landed a gig, which would expense her trip to Jordan. The next moment came in a member of that sorority, one of those head members, thanking JR for being a part of the event, and JR instantly shut her down and shoot her away. Like, I'm only joining this because you guys are a sister fraternity to my actual fraternity. Like, she also insisted about, his family. Like, asked about his family and showed condolences toward his family, and he checked her and shoot her away about that. Like, bruh, like, you don't have the right to ask about them. And she was only trying to show concern. He had a very nasty attitude toward her, and it seemed like she actually liked him or cared for him in a way. I didn't quite understand that at first. So as the girls stormed off, Simone and Keisha quickly chimed in, asking about the interaction. Apparently that girl was his ex that cheated on him with the guy that she claimed was just a friend. Definitely. Just get away at that point. Get away, get away, get away. No respect for cheating exes. Get on. Next moment, in comes in Damon with flyers posted about their singing event with that group that Gabrielle wanted Cam to be a part of. Apparently he's still dodging her when all the flyers have Cam's name on it, or at least a few flyers have Cam's name on it. Something isn't clean in the milk about that. Something was not clean in the milk about that. She was determined, like, you're going to be a part of this event. Wrote his name on the flyer, like, find me. Nobody should have to track you down like that. If they want you to be a part of something and you've showed interest or something of the sort, like, dude, give it a shot, or, like, just turn it down and be real about it. Don't be dodging people like that. He didn't want to do it. Again, he didn't want to do it. He wants to put all his energy into football versus singing, where he's no longer playing at the moment. Again, running, just like Keisha was doing with dancing. As he ended the combo, walking away from Keisha, as she approached him about dodging Gabrielle, she went after him as he stormed off. They bumped into Damon on the way out, who was getting a call from his mom. His mom told him that they're admitting his father into the hospital because his blood pressure is up and things are getting bad. He made his way to Simone's dorm to deliver her the news emotionally. Another worry and burden on Damon's, another burden and worry on Damon, as he blamed himself for running his dad's blood pressure up by pushing him for information. But Simone comforted him. She comforted him as usual, assuring that none of that was his fault. Again, friendship. JR. Next thing was JR. He went to the coach, explaining his difficulties about connecting to the teammates, as JR is too prideful to tell them why he quit. JR has to learn to let people care about him and let people in, as they probably will be able to help and support him in a way if he actually just let them in. The convo ended after coach told him to let them know what's up. Don't be too prideful, because he isn't going to reinstate him into the team without their consent. As he's holding JR accountable for his actions, as he should. Like, dude, you walked away from everybody. Like, fix it or don't. Next scene was of Simone going to Keisha's room to let her know that Damon was to be late, 10 minutes late to the rehearsal. Keisha let Simone have it at that point, like wondering why she's so concerned with Damon's well-being and why are you speaking for him. And she chimed in and was even harder, like, this is getting out of hand. This is beyond friendship. As things with Jordan and her are off. Like, you wonder why things with you and Jordan are off? Probably because you're investing so much energy into Damon. Leaving her stunned and in thought. And a lot to think about at that point. The dean of students came by to Dr. Patterson's house to deliver the news. They made a decision on Dr. Patterson's employment, finding her to be innocent. And he came back with a peace offering, as a bottle of champagne, that he was going to leave her alone with until she insisted he joined her with the wine. Kudos. She got her job. She kept her job. Kudos, kudos, kudos. Next up was Nathan. All dolled up, ready to go to this Met Gala. Not Met Gala. Ready to go to this gala event. In excitement. Meeting Thea at the door of the event that was lightly attended. Where Simone and Damon somehow made their way in each other's face again. In a flirtatious manner. Both Keisha and JR caught the moment as well, of course. Like, at this point, they both are in denial. It's not always on Simone as well. Damon should probably be real with her about his feelings. Even though she may shoot him down, he should probably be real with her about where things is going. And not to spoil it for you before I get to there, he kind of did. But not quite. They're still prancing around the elephant in the room. So when it came time for the auction of the bachelors, starting with Damon, he got on the mic and gave a speech about his dad and revealed that he wanted to donate his charity fund from the bidding for him to the Alzheimer's research. As the bidding for him didn't quite happen, as it resulted into a sentimental donation fund for the Alzheimer's research. People were like, well, I don't want to necessarily bid, but I do want to donate. I want to help. And it turned out that worked in Simone's favor. I'm sure she was happy about that. Not seeing him walk away with another girl. Fast forward to the last bachelor to go up of the event was Cam, as he sung the name of his chosen charity organization. Again, if somebody who doesn't want to sing like that, you sure gloating. It's showing that you can sing. Little was he expecting, Gabrielle was not only at the event, but she was there bidding for Cam and won the night with Cam. Hilarious. And serves him right, as he'd been dodging that girl for days at this point. As she made him sing with her group on the stage just moments later, like, he's like, I can pencil you in. We can date on this day. She's like, no, how about now? I know she's going to get her $80 worth. So the next moment, he performed with him. And it worked out. You know, it worked out. And Keisha set it all up, by the way. Keisha set it all up. She was like, go for it. I'm not going to bid anything. And flag on the play. Like, flag on the play. She just let him get fed to the wolves like that. But the event was a smash, along with the performance. Next scene was JR in the gym. You know, he had, at that event, as JR was in that event, at that gala event, he ended up texting the team, like, meeting in 30 minutes. JR in the gym with his teammates, telling them all the real about what happened with his parents, etc. And about how that incorporated Damon. Making another bonding moment amongst the team, and then welcoming JR back to the team as their family, as they're all one big family. And that was a nice little moment. JR needed that. He needed to be uplifted at this moment. Like, he's trying to get his mind off of his family, as he's trying to figure out who is his real family, and just who he is, I guess, as a person in general, outside of his father's projection. So the next scene, Nate, overheard the two frat female members, the two head members, stating that their interest in him was mainly because they wanted to fill a quota with an LGBTQ plus member. And quickly squashed that. And that was upsetting because we know that Nate, we know that they are struggling with, or freshly coming into the space of, like, being accepted or, coming into society as non-binary. And it's not easy, clearly. It's not easy. But, again, they overheard that conversation coming from the back, and they squashed it, withdrawing their offer then and there, and having those girls' mouths on the floor, gagged. And that was served them right, because why would you do that? Why would you do that? You got caught in, what if Nate had took that to the actual VP? That would have been a nice email to the VP, like, I will not be joining. I was interested in the fraternity, but to know that you guys are only interested in me because to fill a quota, or at least these girls are interested in me to fill a quota due to your pressure of having an LGBTQ plus member in it, I'm done. They would have been on fire. That's probably what Nate should have done. The next moment, Damon. After all of that then took place, after the event is over, Damon went to find Simone to get his dance. She promised him a dance, or he asked for a dance and she agreed to it. She promised him a dance, and he thanked her for everything. And she's done with him, Well, no. Wait. Paul, she's not done with him. By far. He thanked her. She promised him this dance, or agreed to it, and he thanked her for everything. He thanked her for everything she's done lately. He's thanked her for everything she's done lately as they went in closer with each other, hugging and holding one another as they danced. And by the way, the song that he played on his phone was Better by Khalid. I love that song. And that moment of them together dancing almost turned into a kiss until Simone got into a dramatic moment, and reality dawning on her suddenly. Coming back to her senses that she's taken already, and it's not right. The space that y'all are in is not okay. You got a whole boyfriend. And at that point, she demanded space between the two of them, and then ran off. And at that moment, I'm like, girl, you brought all this onto yourself. She needs to figure out her feelings, and fast, because this is ridiculous at this point. Like, I'm sure Damon, whatever she wants to do, Damon will be willing to talk. Damon will be there and understanding of what's going on. But Jordan might not be so much. And I really hope she be honest and real with Jordan going forth about what's going on, because it's ridiculous. Like, she needs to make a choice again. So the next scene was of Nate in the lobby with Theo, eating ice cream. burying their sorrows, I guess, both being sad. Laughs and giggles, being cute, as one of the BKZ members from that fraternity who got caught in that conversation came up wanting to apologize. As she placed the blame on the fellow frat sister who was to graduate next semester. She let it be known that, she's graduating, and not all of us feels like that. We think that you guys both will be an asset to the fraternity, and please consider it. I apologize. And she left. That left Nate and Thea stunned, especially Nate, asking, why do they always feel the need to be accepted by girls like that? Causing another bonding moment between him and Thea as they connected even more. Like, she's like, I found another sister within you. Like, I was looking for a sisterhood within this group, possibly, just as you were, but I found you in the midst of it. And again, that was cute. Again, I'm happy to see Thea thriving. She seems to be the only person, like, really just growing. Well, everybody's growing, except Simone. Everybody's growing. But Thea is the one that's really flourishing within her growth right now. Just trying to find her lane, and she's getting results with it, slowly but surely. Everybody's getting results, but I like hers the best, I guess. On to Keisha and Cam. Walking and talking after the event, and Keisha giving him praises as he killed it on stage with that group. They then got to discussing their friendship without benefits, as Keisha offered to hang out with him that night. And he decided to ditch her to go hang out with Gabrielle to talk music. Leaving Keisha stunned and regretful about the friendship zoning. She friend zoned Cam. She now sees there's a potential moment that's to happen between him and Gabrielle. And that's unfortunate because she really got feelings for him. She friend zoned him and placed him in this position, and now she's not sure of that. Like, she needs to be honest with her feelings as well. Like, Cam has been honest, he's been honest with his feelings about her lately until she friend zoned him. Now she doesn't like that. Like, I'm going to need them to get it together with this love situation. Like, stop it. Stop playing with it. Like, just stop delaying the inevitable. So the next scene. Simone got back to her dorm in sadness after all that, running away from Damon. And then her mom starts calling her. The scene then changed to Damon video chatting his mom, as she informed him that his dad wants to speak to him, and his dad is actually asking for him and not George. The scene then changed back to Simone. Jordan finally answered the phone for her as she called him. She rambled and requested that he come see her, as she's making a mess of things, she stated. Then the scene jumped back to Damon on the phone with his dad, who remembered and recalled the story he was telling him earlier about this fire hydrant and running into a woman outside of the hydrant. He met a woman by the name of Celine, he said. And Damon instantly recognizes the name, like, huh? Celine? JR's mom? And once he asked that, Damon's dad lost his memory all over again, sending Damon all the way back, of course, mentally. Damon then went off to go to Simone's room and he went to her room, I'm assuming to have a conversation with her and, vent to her about that. Until he got to her door and was about to knock, and slightly hearing her on the phone with Jordan as he stood outside her room, attempting to knock on the door. He then just left as Simone laid in the bed emotionally. Like, Simone brought all of this to herself. She really did. But the last scene of the actual show was of Dr. Patterson and the dean of the students of the school or whatever, who's also Keisha's dad. I gotta figure out his name, guys. I'll do that. But, they were having dinner and wine, nicely conversing at the table. Excuse me. Until an image of Dr. Patterson's mugshot in jail came to both of their phones from that little fake Instagram page or exposing Instagram page or whatever that they may have from Brinkstone's campus. You know, once that mugshot came, he's like, tell me this is edited, causing more disturbance amongst Dr. Patterson's employment. And another disappointment, as that doctor was like, the Dr. Dean/Dean would look at her like, okay, tell me this is edited. She's like, no, it's real. And like, somebody's clearly after her and trying to do any and everything to sabotage her career. And it's like, everything keeps pulling. She just, like, everything keeps pulling on her career. Like, she just fought to get back to a good space in her employment. And now it's in jeopardy again because of a mugshot that's surfacing. And again, someone's clearly trying to ruin her life any way they can. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's that old baseball coach that got exposed. Because he's probably mad and bitter that stuff didn't work in his favor and that he got exposed and that costed him his job. That's all I can say, and that's all I can think that would be behind that. Yeah, it's probably a lot of people mad about what's going on with her or what happened with her and what she did, but he probably is the most mad because he lost some things. I hope things get better for her. They should. I hope things get better for her and Coach Turner do what they're going to do and they figure things out. I really do. So that was the episode, guys. That's it. That's all. That's all I have for you guys. Until next week, it is. It's your boy Ron, a.k.a. Ron the Artist. If you're watching this with me right now, we're on Instagram Live. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is pre-recorded and taken from Instagram. If you're watching this from YouTube, please like, subscribe, share, comment. Let's talk about the recap review. Let's talk about it. How did I do? What did you like about the episode? Let's talk about it. If you're watching this on Instagram, the same applies. Let's talk about the episode. Let's talk about the recap review. What did you think about it? Follow me. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let's talk about it. And again, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.